Since We Are Family was founded, our kids, they're taking on some of the most important problems on this planet. So proud. When we started the organization, I wanted to have something that lived beyond me. When we're at that age range, that's when we're firing on all cylinders, right? It's just coming and coming and coming. And all we need is support. The corporations realize that support is integral to their growth.
So I'm Merck Mercuriadis. I was born in Schefferville, Quebec, which is a mining town that dried up and that doesn't exist anymore, other than, sort of as a ghost town, if you like.
I was actually born during a period when Sierra Leone was experiencing its 11-year civil war, and I grew up with my mother, a very amazing woman. Just like many countries who are coming out of civil war, things were all over the place, and that was also during the time when Sierra Leone started really experiencing what climate impact felt like.
The idea for hypnosis started more than 10 years ago. It started with, me having had a great career as a manager, managing people like Elton John, Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, Morrissey, Jane's Addiction, just wonderful, wonderful artists that I was privileged to work with. Eventually, songwriters started to come into my practice. People like The Dream, people like Diane Warren, people like Justin Tranter. And it was only when those songwriters started to come into my practice and I was looking at their songwriting income in isolation, did I realize the massive disparity that existed between what a songwriter was being paid for their work versus what record companies were making off of that work.
We had like this long compartment of houses. On one unfateful night, what happened was a lot of kids were studying with a candle, and as they were studying, a lot of them passed out. And then they hit the candle, and the candle, fell on their bed, and a lot of terrible things happened. It is an open secret that Africa is home to some of the most promising renewable energy solutions, be it solar, hydro, wind, geothermal, etc. The solutions are there, the resources are there. There is only the finance, the skills, and other small policy challenges that we need to work on. I may actually use the billions of tons of kinetic energy that people, cars, their animals, and other moving objects in cities produce every second.
Recorded music doesn't exist without the song being there first, and yet there was this massive disparity and massive gulf. And as I say, songwriters were the low men or women in the economic equation. I could see very clearly that Spotify and that music in a streaming economy was going to deliver consumers that we'd never had before. Look, the nice thing about being a FTSE 250 company is that index has, governance standards, but it also has, the E and the S. For me, it's very, very simple. I believe that any company needs to represent the values of the people that it makes money with.
Optim Energy basically is like a device that can be installed in high congested areas. And as they move, and when they come across like the device, see if the device is installed on this particular floor, you step on it, that kinetic energy that you produce while in motion is what the device absorbs, and from kinetic energy, it changes it to electrical. They don't know what is happening on the back end. We are the ones doing the hard work. They have power. Climate anxiety is down. Cost of energy is almost zero. And we're saving the planet and making life affordable. There is possibly no better time to scale it up than now that energy costs are going off the roof everywhere around the world. And the fact that, from New York to Freetown, Monrovia, and every other city around the world, we're experiencing the same problem of urbanization.
I mean, look, we're all a part of our environment, right? And how we see the world needs to continually be informed by the people that are going to be occupying it longer than we do. That's exactly one of the reasons why I'm excited to meet Jeremiah. I'm trying to make the world a better place through music and through investment in music and establishing songs as an asset class. He's trying to do something remarkable, right? He's trying to figure out new ways of making energy.
Optim Energy, or the device itself, positions itself to be a very important player in solving these energy crisis challenges that we're faced with. If we're really serious about solving, climate change, I think Optim Energy will be a vital player.
He's trying to figure out new ways of improving the lives of millions of people in a country like Sierra Leone that has had its own challenges. And these are, again, remarkable young people that the We Are Family Foundation supports.
It's just very, very much timely for us to scale it up right now. There are times when actually what I need may not be like the very, very resource. What I need is basically like someone that I can speak to based on like the frustrations. Somebody talking to you alone means a lot when you're ideating, trying to prototype something. So a great support system too behind me.
The fact that a young guy like Jeremiah can come from challenged beginnings in Sierra Leone and express an idea that grabs the attention of important people all over the world to the point where they want to support him in bringing those ideas to fruition. I want to be a part of that. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Jeremiah has to say, not only about his personal endeavors, but also his observances on hypnosis, because as I say, the ideas of young people, and particularly people that are only looking at things from the perspective of what they see, as opposed to from the perspective of having deep knowledge of something, should provide some feedback and should provide some ideas that are catalysts for change in our business that I find that very exciting. Hey Jeremiah.
Hello.
How are you, man?
Good.
Nice to meet you. Are we gonna sit here?
Yeah, sure. First of all, you and I, we came from different worlds, and it's very much unlikely for you and I to sit in the same room to have this conversation. You're so much into music and entertainment, and I'm into energy. But then I think, at the fundamental level, what connects you and I is the fact that we believe in, the love and the power to make people move. Basically, what Optim Energy does is we want to tap into movement of people. As people move, we absorb that kinetic energy that they emit as they move around. You from hypnosis, and we're from two different areas. I'll really be interested to really understand how you came about, or what was that light bulb moment.
I'm not a songwriter or a producer or an artist. I have none of those talents. Similarly, you're not, someone that has come across energy because of the fact that you have a talent for energy, as it were. But what you saw was a problem that needed to be fixed. And I think that many of the very best ideas and what people really dedicate themselves to is when they identify that problem. In my case, I understood that songwriters and musicians and artists had the talent, but they didn't necessarily have the skills to advocate for themselves or to fight for themselves or to protect themselves or to get the best deal for themselves. And I think what you're doing is really remarkable because of the fact that you've identified that, you know, in a country that has been ravaged with war and ravaged with political issues following that, you know, you've identified a very real problem and, you know, you're putting people to work to solve that problem and you've come up with solutions.
I'm actually now going to have to go, you know, toe-to-toe with some of the biggest energy companies or people who have big stakes, you know, in, you know, the fossil fuel industry. The same way they never liked you, that is the same kind of exposure that I'm going to get when people will never like me. They will like what I'm doing, but then due to the fact that a lot of the things that they have or that is very dear to them, you know, is what I'm going to change or revolutionize. What are some tips, you know? How were you able to weather that storm?
You know, the first thing is to point out that, in fact, there's a lot of storms, right? As I say, you know, whether it's the music industry or indeed whether it's the energy industry, there are those paradigms where people will just say to you, no, that's not the way we do it. I think it's very important for you to decide for yourself what it is that you genuinely believe in and to have a very uncompromising attitude. As you go from one stage of development to the next, to continually identify who your allies are and also whose world you're disrupting or what competitors that are out there that might not want to see you succeed. Do you have a sense of both of those sides of the equation?
In terms of those two sets of equations, we've identified them, but just that those that really like what we're doing actually don't have like the expertise or the resources to put it into for us to scale. And those that actually don't like us on the other part of the equation are the people that actually have everything at their disposal. Looking through the ESG policy that you have, it is amazing. However, I'm very much concerned by, you know, your external or hypnosis external footprint. The policy that I saw, it will really position hypnosis to be very much efficient and environmentally friendly, mostly from the inside. How are you thinking of, you know, carrying those external entities that's plus or minus that you don't have control over?
Hypnosis is, you know, being a public company, governance obviously needs to be a top priority, right? You know, you have streaming, which is the preferred delivery method, and on the surface, it would appear that streaming has eliminated a lot of the environmental issues in our business. But those streaming services are powered by massive servers. I'm pretty certain, based on logic, that streaming is a much more environmentally friendly way of delivering music to people all over the world
Not in our cases.
than the previous methods. But there are people out there that will tell you that that's not the case. And I hope that that's where you can help me.
Have you ever considered like having like this diverse set of view of young people who you may meet with, say 3 months, 6 months on the societal and governance aspect, but then kind of building a company that holistically is excelling within the whole ESG framework?
Well, I think what would be very helpful to me, but hopefully also very helpful to you too, is if you put together a group of 5 or 6 people that are passionate about the environment, and if I then put together a group of 5 or 6 songwriters and artists that are also people that have an affinity for advocating for the environment, and we bring that group of people together, and as you say, meet every 3 or 6 months, we can be educating artists and songwriters at the same time and coming up with a policy that would be robust and be helpful.
That will really show how much, you know, premium you and I place on the environment, but then we also want to consider our impact on the wider environment and people around us. So that would be something very, very exciting.
I think what we should do is let's get together later in the week. I want you to, I know you've met Nile Rodgers already, but Nile's an incredibly important part of my work and my life, both on a personal basis and on a work basis. And I'd like us to carry this discussion on with him as well.
Sure. I really look forward to that and possibly how the perspectives will go more wider.
Fantastic.
Based on the conversation that we had, I think for now, the most concrete thing that we've settled on is formulating a board that will actually give hypnosis a youthful perspective on how they can, build on their environmental programs. I'm speaking with him in the next few months. I really want to see how far he will have gone in working with young people and putting together the board, and for me to those diverse set of industry leaders who start advising me of reaching 100,000 people in the next 5 years. So we've set our hearts towards doing it.
All right, Jeremiah.
How are you doing?
Good to see you, man.
Good.
Hey, brother, how are you?
I was wondering, do you know any musician from Sierra Leone?
I do, and it amazes me because Sierra Leone is, one of the few African countries where, in fact, the music is actually more international than it is African, whether it's Creole-based or sort of traditional folk, Goombay. We are used to, because both Nile and I are good students of African music, whether it's Mali, Salif Keita, Yusuf, go to Nigeria, Chief Ebenezer, Sunny Ade. Who are the artists from Sierra Leone that Nile and I should be listening to?
Those hip hop musicians in Sierra Leone, we almost from the same background. So when they see something, you emotionally connect to the story that they are telling. One thing that they do have currently is the influence that they carry, and the fact that whatever they say, young people like myself want to listen to them. So as we've been having intergenerational conversation, over the last few days, I think there is so much that they have to offer. So the advice that Mary gave me was, putting together like a global board, of people who, I can leverage on their influence and what actually we can do, what tables we can shake together collectively.
It's exciting to me because, unfortunately, I've watched Africa as a continent for a long time, and I've seen a generational shift. Like the younger people, when I was a kid, they didn't seem to care that much about long-term sustainable stuff.
I was with someone yesterday and we were talking, and they pointed out to the person that we were talking to that, when you want to get involved in something, sometimes it's about the people, sometimes it's about the idea, but the best times is when it's about both, right? So, putting that board together, the one thing that you can count on is that you're going to have support from Nile and I, because we believe in you as a person, but we also believe in your idea. And we believe that you'll attract other people of quality that can help you, take it not only from point A to point B, but E, F, G, H, I, and J as well.
Right now, I'll be going home, and the first steps that I want to do is, engage with a wider network of young people, not only, young people within Sierra Leone, but then young and amazing and great leaders within the WAF network who are also, focused on anything climate action, and then try to see how I can extend this, conversation that I've had with you with them and see how, we can foster something together as young people, and then we'll communicate that with you. So that is what I'm going to work on within the next few weeks, and making sure that I have a very concrete and diverse set of young people that I'm going to communicate with you, and hopefully we're going to continue this conversation.
That's exciting, man. Cool. We look forward to it.
But man, it's so
Thank
great
you so much,
to be
man.
with you.
Thank you, man.
And I can't wait to see what we do in the future.
The future is very much exciting.
Being with him in person, he's the bomb. He's great. He's, I love him already.
It never ceases to amaze me how We Are Family continues to attract these incredible young people all over the world that, are doing such amazing, interesting work. But even beyond that, you can envisage them running corporations, doing incredible work, becoming presidents, leaders of the future. And you and Nancy both spoke highly of Jeremiah, but I thought that, in my couple of meetings with him, I thought that he was incredibly special. And I think that he's, it's interesting because, you go into these things when you're in our position, wanting to give back and wanting to help people, but I actually think he's going to help me.
Right.
I think that with a company like ours, with hypnosis, you have a really high standard to meet when it comes to your contributions to the environment, your contributions to societal issues, your contributions to governance. And I think particularly in the environmental side, he came up with a great idea, which I then expanded on, where we're going to take him putting together a small group of young people that really know their shit when it comes to the environment. And I'm going to put together a group of songwriters that are interested in the environment and that want to know more. And we'll create our own internal think tank, or, we've got our advisory board led by you as far as the music is concerned. We're going to have an advisory board now as far as the environment is concerned that's led by Jeremiah, and I think it's going to be amazing for us.